Shit. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pashhammer. So today what I wanted to do is to take you through my experience at the London Grand Tournament. This is a slightly different format of video that I've done in the past. It's essentially sort of like a vlog. I've done quite a lot of video footage and photos for this one, and to be 100% honest, it's been quite a lot of work putting it together. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions of whether you think this format works or whether I can just trim it down and take it back to something a little bit more simple, which will probably be a bit more straightforward. But I'll take you through my experience at the London Grand Tournament and how I did in the end there. So let's have a little look and see. So first things first, what did I take? I took Cathay, the Grand Army of Cathay. Yes, I was one of those balloon bastards. The army was beautiful. It was actually borrowed from two different people. Half painted by Callum Hay from Team Scotland, and half painted by Bryan Carmichael, who was at the event as well. Conveniently, I don't think you can really tell the difference between the two because they were both in very similar styles. Very, very, very pretty. I thoroughly enjoyed using these armies. I think they were, yeah, I think they really struck a chord. To show you what was in my list, let me just show you there. Here's what I brought. So I had General Bao Lun, is a Lord Magistrate, on a Sky Lantern with all the tricks. He had Sword of Striking, which is just +1 to hit. It's really mostly against ethereals in case it came up any vampires. Jade Armor of Beishai, and Alchemist's Mask, which gives him Plague of Rust, bound level 3. Jade Armor is a 4-up armor save, 5-up ward, and magic resistance 2. Then I had a Chairman Meow, a Shogungan General. He just has the usual stuff that they do, level 1, battle magic, Maw Shard. Maw Shard was amazing. Maw Shard makes you miscast on doubles, any double, including a double 6, which is really, really cool. And he was level 1 battle magic. I had another Shogungan called Shigengus Khan. He had the same level 1 Lore of Yang, battle magic, and Brazen Blade. Brazen Blade is a really cool one. It's a basically +1 strength, AP 1, multi-wound 2 weapon, but on 6s to wound, it ignores ward and regen saves. Very, very good against characters who only have one type of save. You pop a 6 and then suddenly they're taking double wounds. It's really, really, really good. Both of these guys pretty much spend the whole entire event using Hammerhand, actually, just to give them a little bit of extra punch in combat. So I didn't really... There was one time I took Arcane Urgency, and to be honest, I don't think it worked out. So yeah, it was very, very helpful. To round out our characters, we've got Ming the Inflatable. He's a strategist on a Sky Lantern with all the usual tricks. He has Armor of Meteoric Iron and Talisman of Protection for a 5-up unmodifiable armor save and a 5-up ward save. Pretty nasty combination of characters. I quite like them. So to go into core, we had the Chop Chop Suey squad, 5 Jade Lancers, ambushing drilled with the Ring of Jet on the champion and magic resistance 1. We had the Rice and Ready Riders, which were exactly the same. We had the Super Soy Soldiers, which is 12 Jade Lancers, 12 Jade Warriors, with shields, magic res 1, and the Icon of Heavenly Fury, which is the no fly banner. Really, really useful. We have 2 pieces of artillery, the Walk and Load and the Chopstick Thunder, which are just 2 Cathay and Grand Cannons. And last but not least, if you can just see at the side of my head, we've got Sir Floats-a-Lot. It's a plain Sky Lantern with the usual tricks. So essentially, it's a triple balloon list with 2 Shogungan and a bit of core for capturing objectives and bits and pieces. Really pretty army. Really enjoyed using it. Yeah, as playing pieces go, it was really, really quite pretty. This is just a video of the army, and the background noise that you sort of hear, that's a constant humdrum in the background that we had the whole entire weekend. And when I do the wider shots, you'll see why. Yeah, really, really, really pretty army. Lots and lots of beautiful detail on this. A pain in the arse to transport, especially coming on the train from Edinburgh. It was all over the shop, but yeah, really, really nice to play with. You can see some of the detail that was done here. This is actually, believe it or not, actually a bit of a rush job. The lanterns were painted by Callum Hay, and he did a bit of a rush job on my behalf, so I do appreciate that. Thank you, Callum. And Bryan actually rushed painting the rest of the stuff as well, because he kept chopping. He also took Cathay, so he kept chopping and changing his list. Oh yeah, look at these. I really quite like them. Yeah, cracking army. My journey started on the Friday. I got my little mascot there, little Harris the Highland Coo. Team Scotland had one as well, so we Harris brought me luck on day one. I ended up giving Harris away to a kid, and maybe I lost my luck at that point. So, but we'll see that as it goes along. I took the train down Edinburgh to London, not too bad. The whole journey I think was about 6 or 7 hours. Yep, various modes of public transport, arriving in Cambridge to stay with my mate Andy Dalton, who took me to this really cool little pub called the Side Quest. Really, really funky, really old-timey little pub. You have to hunch over, and there Andy and I enjoying a bit of drink with the tapestry in the background, as you do. Really, like, I think like proper old-timey British pubs, whatever you sort of imagine British pubs to be. This was it. This was really it. This might be just me. Anyone else take pictures of fancy bathrooms? This one was really posh. I don't know. I quite liked it, so I just took a picture of it. Saturday morning, we set off nice and early to head over to the venue. I had my my Welsh shirt on, repping the colours, and this is us following some unfortunates. This is basically just a car park. Not really exciting, but it sort of gave you the impression of just how busy this place was. There was a queue to get in. I hadn't really anticipated until this point how big this was going to be, and this is the point that I realized that actually it's absolutely massive. You go in here, there's an entrance of security guards, for God's sake, and then you walk into the arena and you start to hear the noise just sort of hits you as you start to see it, and then you see just what's going on. It is insane. So many people. So this is like a sports arena, indoor sports arena. Just crazy. I did a little wider shot here as well. You can see these are all 40k people. These are not old world people. There's a bar here at the bottom. It was pretty cool. This is the site map. So basically, all that you saw there, all the people that I saw there, were all there for 40k. There was a Games Workshop sort of area on the right hand side. I have no idea what that meant. But from what I understand, Games Workshop themselves were there. They had representatives there. They were walking about, including walking about around the old world bit, which is quite cool. Lots of other side events, Kill Team, Horus Heresy, Ice and Fire, Star Wars, bits and pieces. The very, very bottom left here, you can see sort of beside my head here, is the old world. That's where we were based. It looks tiny on the map here, but actually that was like 40 tables. And Age of Sigmar had about the same, which sort of shows you the popularity of old world, that it was on par with Age of Sigmar at this event. Yeah, really, really quite cool. The arena was really quite something impressive. It's me just taking some background shots. Just amazed by the sheer crowd that we had there. Really, really quite cool. And this is me trying to get a little bit arty. So that was the Titans arena. So from what I understand, there were around about 1,100 40k participants, and together with everyone else, made up around about 2,000 people at this weekend, the London Grand Tournament. I, up until this moment, didn't really realise how big this was going to be. This is me doing a tour of our section, and it gives you an idea of the scale of things. That was a TO's desk. We've got Richard and Sophie. We've got the top tables. There's Malik there. There's a few people you'll recognise there as well. So Really good tables, actually. Really good quality terrain. Really good, that's my round one opponent. Really good quality terrain, really good map layout. I could not fault them for that. Like, in terms of provision for an event, brilliant. It's Bryan. And I think at this point I start to head into the AOS sort of crowd. It just keeps going and going and going. It's really quite, yeah, it just keeps going and going and going. Way into the distance. Way into the distance. As my round one opponent makes a runner. Richard made some announcements there. His Teal's desk. He was a little bit shouted down, I think, by just the PA system that was in the background going on for the 40k crowd and everybody else. So, but you know, like, he kept us to round times and, well, he kept announcing the round times and stuff. So, that bit was good. There's the three Cathay cunts, as we call them. Malik, myself, and Bryan, the three Cathay players. Okay, so my first round opponent. Let's have a little look. So my first round opponent was Matthew Burch. Matthew brought Vampire Counts. It was a fairly fluffy list, although it still had a serious amount of threats. He had a Cairn Wraith. He had a Master Necromancer level 4 on Necromancy with a Scepter of Denoir, Cloak of Mist and Shadow, so he was ethereal. He had a Vampire count, which we're not seeing an awful lot of, with a Shield, Heavy Armor, Dark Acolyte, which I believe makes him a level 1 wizard, or at least for the purposes of casting Invocation. Curse of the Revenant, I don't actually remember what that does. On a Horse, Sword of Kings, which is killing blow in 5s and 6s, and Talisman of Protection for a ward save. Really, really nice, solid build. He had a White Lord BSB, Great Weapon Shield, Banner of the Barrows, and their Cursed Armor, which actually gave him +1 toughness. It made him toughness 6, which is really quite nasty. 10 Direwolves with a champion, 23 Graveguard with great weapons, and drilled War Banner, which is unusual, but you'll see why. 24 Skellies, 5 Blood Knights, full command, drilled, champion with a Terror bloodline thing, MR1, Drakenhof banner for the magic resistance, for the regen, and a Vargulf as well, which is really quite unusual. Let's have a little look and see how we deployed, see if I remember. So what did we do here? We deployed roughly as follows. I'm in the bottom here. I had my Jade Lancers on the right hand side. I didn't bother ambushing them. Had a cannon on the right hand side. I had a cannon in the middle. I've got my Jade Warriors here at the bottom left. One Shogungan in the middle left, and then one Shogungan on the far left side here, which you can almost barely see actually, with another unit of Lancers. Now I did in fact scout my 3 Lanterns because he didn't really have any shooting, and it didn't particularly matter if he charged me or not. Matthew set up Vargulf on I'm going to say my left. Here I put my balloon in charge because it was frenzied. It meant he would have had to charge me, which gave me a free stand and shoot, which was quite nice. He had a unit of Skellies in the middle, his Vampire with the Blood Knights in the middle, another unit of Skellies, Necromancer hanging out beside them, a unit of actually that's Graveguard in the middle, the Skellies at the top here, these Wolves over here, and then the Cairn Wraith hanging out. I'll do a little panel shot, see if you can see what it looked like at the time. You can see the Vargulf. Huey chap. He cosplayed as a vampire, which is dedication. Yeah, good on him. Really, really nice army actually. I really enjoyed. This is a really fun game to start the event with. Matthew did a grand job. Yeah, there we go. See the balloons all deployed. Bloody awkward playing with balloons. They're always taking up so much room. Yeah. And this is how things look like after turn 1. Basically, you know, he charged me. I got some shots on his Vargulf, which didn't have a lot of wounds left after turn 1. In fact, was it already dead? It might have actually been killed. Yeah, 4 wounds doesn't get you very far. And then I started bombing the Graveguard and all the other bits and pieces, putting cannons through his. In fact, yeah, his Blood Knights died in one turn. I think it was actually a bombing run because the balloons are flaming grenades, which is quite nasty. They're flammable. They don't get regen saves against those. So once you, I mean, yeah, they're armor safe too. But if it's AP1, sometimes armor bane +1, so you can actually go through Blood Knights in a turn with a couple of balloons, which is quite nasty. And then I was putting cannons through his Vampire Lord, but his Vampire Lord kept passing his regen, or I kept rolling 1 to wound, or he kept passing his ward save. Like I just couldn't get any wounds on him at that point. So yeah, turn 1, started killing a few things, started dancing around. Turn 2, I think by this point the dogs are dead. The dogs made it somewhere at the bottom of my map here. They died. The Graveguard are dead, and the unit, a block of skellies is dead. Like those lanterns, they come in and they bomb the crap out of a unit, and like you just don't have very much left. His vampire is still around here. I think we were in combat or something. I don't know. It wasn't anything too scary. Turn 3 saw him charge my unit of, I think this was domination as well. Yeah. Saw Matthew charge his Vampire Lord and start killing some of my Lancers, which is fine. I think I bombed the skeletons at this point. He doesn't have a lot left. I think he basically had his General and his Vampire Lord. And I'm pretty sure by the end of turn 4, that was it. I think I eventually did manage to put a cannon through the Vampire, and I managed to kill his Necromancer General last. So made it last as long as I could. But I think, and I hope Matthew doesn't mind saying this, I think there was a bit of imbalance in lists and experience in this game. But you know, it was still a really good fun game, but it was painful to pick them apart, to be honest. I ended up picking up everything in his army and getting all 4 quarters, and Matthew got 1 unit of Lancers, which I think the Vampire Lord chopped up. So I got 2,947 victory points versus 166 for a 6-0 win. And it was lunch. This was the outdoor lunch area. Really, really cool. Really good food. Lots of options. Lots of little different, like, wrap vans, noodle vans, pizza vans. It was really good. It was really good. It's funny, isn't it? There's like a look. There's like a gamer look, isn't there? That you could totally tell. Really, really cool place. This was my lunch, in case you cared. I had a nice... The portions were, like, seriously sizable. Kept you going. Okie doke. And now on to game 2. So in my game 2, I was paired up against Tom Brzozowski. We discussed Tom's list previously. It is, I think, about the only Chaos Dwarf list that was at the event. He's a pro with Chaos Dwarf, so I knew I was in for a tricky matchup. It's not an army I play very often, so unfortunately my knowledge of Chaos Dwarves is really quite limited. But he had Sorcerer Prophet, who had Dark Forge weapon, heavy armor, level 3 wizard, Bale Taurus, armor of meteoric iron, talisman of protection, mantle of stone, obsidian, van braces, and demonology. All that means is he's toughness 7. He keeps throwing out this spell that makes you -1 to hit if you're within 9 inches of him. It was really quite nasty, really quite effective. Paired with that, he had a Bull Centaur Torok with a great weapon, heavy armor, charm shield, mask of the furnace, mantle of stone. Another really tough character. 360 line of sight, charge, really, really nasty. It was really quite difficult to zone him out. In core, we had 10 Infernal Guard, 24 Hobgoblins, 24 Hobgoblins. So they were fairly easy points, to be 100% honest. Gave my Lantern something to aim for. But the rest of the list was actually quite tricky. So he had Bull Centaur Renders, and 2 Iron Demons, which were Hellbound as well. So lots and lots of toughness 7, really, really nasty, really, really tricky to deal with. And paired with that, we had the scenario where you deploy the table court is one where you deploy in each other's in corners essentially. And if you have a look and see here, I basically deployed fairly aggressively with all my balloons on the line with a Shogungan sort of here, and I think I had one unit of ambushing lancers and the other unit out there as well, and my cannon sort of beside this little bit of impassable guarded by my cow, Harris the cow. And then Tom had his 3 units of cutthroats, his big unit of, well, I say big, his line of iron, what are they called again? Iron Guard, Infernal Guard. And then he had everything else, the Bale Taurus and the 2 chariots hiding behind this hill, so I basically couldn't shoot it off in one turn. And then the Bull Centaur Renders hiding behind this building, and the Torok hiding behind this building. We spent quite a long time going for deployment, I think. And this is, I'll warn you, this game did not finish, I think, unfortunately, due to just sort of running a bit short on time. I don't really know why we run short on time, but to be fair, I think large part of my games involved, there was a lot of like templates moving, dropping templates, seeing how many people go in there, scattering them, etc., etc. Bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest. So what happened? Let's have a little look. There you go. You can see all the cannons hiding beside the building. The Shogungan's looking out. He's hiding his valuable targets. A really nicely painted army. Tom had a really nicely painted army, so hats off to him. The cutthroats hiding there, claiming objectives, and then round the back of his building, we've got the renders there as well. So after this says turn 1. This feels like a very aggressive turn 1, but actually, no, I think that's probably about accurate. Yeah. So I believe who went first? I went first. I didn't do a huge amount with my cannons turn 1, but I was able to basically destroy a whole unit of cutthroats and a half, just with dropping balloons, etc., etc. So I was sort of around about here, at which point Tom charged me with the Bale Taurus. We misplayed something at this point, and it was to do with the fire and flee mechanic. We had discussed it, and we thought that because Tom was within his minimal movement, I couldn't shoot, even though I mean I could do stand and shoot, but I couldn't do fire and flee as a charge reaction. But actually, in the FAQ that we were playing with, as I later found out, you can do a fire and flee quick shot reaction. So we misplayed that, which is why this balloon got caught. But to be honest, it wasn't a big issue because it wasn't really going to be winning combats or anything. But the funny thing is I think Tom actually won combat, but I failed to disengage because I failed the leadership test to flee there. So turn 1, turn 2, we have 1 fewer Iron Demon. I think I had to spend basically 4 cannon shots killing it. Used all my rerolls, etc., just to kill it. So we are 1 Iron Demon down. Shogungan are flying around here, but they are getting peppered by things. By this point, I believe Tom is down to just over half a unit of cutthroats left. These guys have been bombed, and yeah, things are starting to get a little bit ropey for him. Now that's turn 2, and we actually only played 1 more turn before time was called. So we run out of time on this one. I think part of it was just I'll put my hand up, me being rusty with the movement that I needed to do, and then you roll out the templates, and then you're trying to determine who's underneath it. We probably wanted to play. This is Tom's first game against Cathay as well, so I had to explain a lot of bits and pieces how things worked. So it was a bit of a learning game, and yeah, I think we were probably being a bit too precise and not really watching the time there, and we only managed to get 3 turns in. But after the 3 turns, Tom lost 2 units of cutthroats. He lost 133. I don't know what that is. I think that might be part partial points for something. Maybe. And an Iron Demon plus 240 points that I claimed for objectives. So altogether, Tom lost 959 points, and I lost 98, which was, I think, some partial points for Shogungan or something. 98 is an odd number. I don't really know what that was. And then also the 30 points for objectives. So I lost 128. Altogether, the difference was 831, which was a 5-1 in my favor. A really strange result because it didn't feel like a 5-1. I'm not really used to these GW scoring systems yet. I'm still in a sort of 20-0 mindset. And that very much felt like a 13-7 and 20-0 format, if that. But again, it was probably a little bit more with the objectives there as well. Had we played out another few turns, I think basically his core would have been dead. His bull centaurs would have been dead. In fact, that's probably what died actually. 183, 133. I think I got some points for that. Anyway, yeah, they would have been dead. The Iron Demon just depends if he ever poked out and I managed to shoot him. His bull centaur. No, it's the Bull Center was called. The Sorcerer Prophet was just such a nasty target. I really wasn't sure how to best kill it. Chaos Dwarves actually have some pretty good game into Cathay because they have lots and lots of flaming wards. They have toughness 7, really good armor, just really, really tough. But yeah, it was what it was. Okay, on to my game 3. Let's have a little look and see what we had in game 3. So in game 3, I played against Michal Kubacki. Now, Michal is a friend of Tom's, actually, so I think they know each other fairly well. And he was playing his Mortuary cult, Tomb Kings. He brought with him Tomb King on a Bone Dragon with the Armor of Ages, Talisman of Protection, fairly standard setup, with a great weapon, a High Priest level 4 on foot, Elementalism, a Royal Herald, BSB, with a Ruby Ring, also on foot, Mortuary Priest level 2 with the Lore Familiar and Elementalism. And in core, he had 2 units of 35 archers with full command. He had a unit of 7 horse archers, a unit of 13 skeleton skirmishers, and 2 units of 5 Ushapti, and a Casket of Souls. Now, I didn't really think... I was glad it was only 10 Ushapti. I didn't really think it was going to be all that, but as it proved, 5 Ushapti actually, when they hit and they wound, yeah, they could do a number on balloons. So this was, I think I only got a video of our deployment. Let me just show you the video. So Tom's got his, Michal, apologies Michal. He's hid his dragon at the very top left there to stop me cannoning him, which I think probably was not the best idea because he basically spent the whole game just sort of dancing around. I think he killed a cannon, which is like, okay, that's fine. I'm happy for your Tomb King guy to do that. My balloons scouted. Yes, I scouted to try and to get the drop on him. I did in fact steal turn 1, so actually this turned out to be quite a good idea. He basically put everything else sort of in the corner over here to try and protect everything. I knew that if I got first turn, that basically I should be able to destroy a unit of skeletons a turn, which hopefully then means he's got less places for his Hierophant to run away to, and I can maybe start targeting him. I had lots of things hiding here. This was one where we had 2 or 3 objective points as well to capture. And after turn 1... Oh no, this is deployment actually, yeah. Okay, so you can tell, he's got everything in the corner here, apart from his dragon in the top left here. I had a cannon hiding behind a wood here. This is the diagonal deployment one. I had a cannon hiding behind a wood. And I had another cannon here, the backboard as well. So the idea was just to give me good firing lines through this bit as well. He was hiding his casket behind the wood there, and everything else was basically out and proud. Now all his characters were actually in this unit of skirmishers skirmishing bowmen at the top here, which is an interesting choice. I decided in my first turn to just start getting rid of those big blocks of skeletons first, because then he really wouldn't have anywhere for those characters to hide. But then at some point, I think I switched gear and I started hunting those characters to try and bring the game to a close. After turn 1, as you'd imagine, everything sort of moved forward. 1 unit of skeletons is already dead, just bombed to oblivion. And his characters are starting to move into this corner here, which I think was, I mean, I don't know if it's a mistake. I don't really know how I would play it, but it meant that I could basically zone in on these on this unit, and I could start picking it out eventually. And then my Shugungin are coming in for to start attacking the Shapti and start doing damage to them. The dragon on the top left here pokes out around the hill. I think I fired off some cannon shots at some bits and pieces. I did hit the dragon a few times, and I did do a few wounds, but it wasn't significant enough to damage it. At this point here, we have the dragon chasing the cannon, which I believe fled. And I tried to do some wounds on it. Again, I'm peppering wounds here, but this thing's so tough. Like, I think I rolled a couple of ones to wound as well. But with the reroll, it's bound to happen eventually. So it was probably statistically average. At the top here, we have the Shugungin have finished off 1 unit of the bowman, the Shapti, and I was feeling pretty good about that. There was an overrun here, which I think we should have measured a little bit better. I was a bit sloppy with my measurement, and it was either bang on off the table or just on the table. Either way, yeah, that was a mistake by me. I should have measured it a little bit better. But as you can tell here, everything is starting to sort of back away into a corner. And next turn, my balloons flew over and basically destroyed that whole unit of skeleton skirmishers, leaving all his characters sort of exposed. Meant I can start dropping grenades on them, etc., etc. And this Shugungin started munching the skeletons here, which I don't know if that was actually the right choice. I probably should have gone for the Ushapti, because the Ushapti were the ones that were starting to do damage to the balloons. It was really quite nasty. The dragon here on the left-hand side had, by the end of turn 3, picked up that cannon and started to turn around and start looking at other points on the board. I think at this stage, actually, believe it or not, both balloons are dead. Sorry. Like, which one is it? Oh, so that's my general. So the meteoric iron balloon is dead, and the plain balloon is dead. And that was all basically from like 5 Ushapti. They just kept hitting and wounding, and it was double, multi-wound too. It was really quite nasty. So, yeah, really quite painful. And then he's bringing his skeleton skirmishers around here to grab some objective points. He's not got a huge amount left. I think at this point I started to go through his characters. He did manage. That was my mistake. I brought the Shugungin back on the board that overran, and I should have moved him further. He had Wind Blast. He actually managed to push it off the board. So, starting to get tired by this point, I think, because it's been 3 long games on day 1, and starting to make sloppy mistakes and start to get frustrated when the dice don't go for you. So, yeah, apologies, Michal. I think you didn't get my best side on this game. What do we have here? We have the this is end of turn 4. The skeleton, the bone dragon starts to come in and go for that other cannon. I think it's down to like 2 wounds or something at this stage, and I just don't manage to finish it off. So it will collect that cannon by the end of the game. These skeleton bowmen over here, I believe I managed to blast them with the ring. These skeletons sort of come back a little bit, but by this point we have, I believe, got his Hierophant, got his BSB, got a whole bunch of points, and we're just left with these Ushapti who are chasing some partial points here. My Shugungin over here, that's the one with the big choppy blade, he is down to like 2 wounds, and he's trying to finish him off with Ushapti, which didn't quite finish off. So at the end of that game, I picked up Well, basically most of his army, apart from like that bone dragon was left on a few wounds. The Ushapti were left alive. Those skeletons had some amount. I don't remember if they gave partial points or not. Those horse archer skeletons were actually okay. I think they had two left, so they didn't give up any partial points. But the casket was dead. The I think most of his characters were dead as well. So if not all apart from there. So I got from Michal, I got 1,304 points plus 750 for objectives for 2,054. And from me, Michal got 970 from kill points and 210 on objectives. So 2054 versus 1180 again is a 874 point difference, which made it a 5-1. So both my game 2 and game 3 ended up in 5-1s, and wildly different amount of things died. And yeah, the result was much the same. Tough games on day 1. The 3 opponents that I had basically hadn't played Cathay before. That was their first game against Cathay. So, and that was my first game with Cathay on the table as well. So, you know, it took longer than it should have. I think all 3 of my games were quite slow. Obviously, in the second game, not getting more than past turn 3 was annoying. And this game here, we were actually the last one to finish. And we did overrun the round timer, and Rich came in and basically gave us like 10 minutes to play out the rest of the game, which is what we did, which was a bit rushed. And it's always awkward because you don't want to push your opponent to try and hurry on, but at the same time, because if they movement is so important that if they move their character in the wrong place, it could mean the end of the game for them. So you don't want to push them to make a mistake, but you want to push them to make a decision. And conversely, also, I needed to play faster with my templates and stuff like that I was doing, which by day 2 I started to realize that's what I needed to do. But it was something like 8 p.m. by this point, and we'd been playing since around about 10 a.m. So a very long day of gaming. I was utterly exhausted, and there wasn't really that many people left. But one of the cool things that I did see is I actually managed to meet some cool people. And one of the people was this chap. This is Daniel Capita, I believe. And I'm sorry, Danielle, if I mispronounce your name. But Danielle is actually from Malta. So as I understand, he won a regional tournament to have an all expenses paid trip to the London GT. And that's what he did. He came over with his army. I think it was Dwarves Expeditionary Force, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, fantastic, really, really nice guy. Spent a bit of time chatting to him, and it was really nice to see. As you can see, that's basically, by the time we finished our game, there wasn't anyone left there, which is a bit unusual for an event. Usually, there's people hanging about, having a couple of drinks and a few bits and pieces. But at this stage, yeah, there was. I think everybody had gone home. And this is the TO's desk. We've got Richard chowing down on his lunch there. We've got Sophie, his wonderful assistant, and a few other extra people that helped out as well. So overnight on day 1, I was the overnight leader, as it were. So myself and Bryan were both on the same score, but clearly I think I must have been ahead on tiebreakers. And Malik was 2 wins and a draw, 2 big wins and a draw there as well. So overall, after day 1, 3 Cathay players in the whole tournament. All 3 of them are 1, 2, and 3 overnight, which tells you something, doesn't it? Day 2. So me just getting a few shots in there, but yeah, just mad. There's Richard and myself, just getting a few selfies on the go. Let's have a little panel shot. There you go. Really, really busy. Really, really loud. I like that guy's socks. This is obviously some Titans fighting as well. So this is day 2. Let's have a little look through the little walkthrough that we have. Hey, Sophie. Top tables here, top 4. Tables were randomized throughout the event, other than in the last round. So there was no set table that you were on. It didn't really matter hugely where everybody was. Really nice to walk about and see other people's armies, people setting up, and the place starting to really sort of fill up. Really, really busy. And I faced Bryan, Carmichael, and his Cathay. So there's Bryan's army out, and my army in the background there as well. So in a second, I think you'll see me. Yeah, we got a picture with all the balloons. So this is actually all the balloons of the event. Malik took 2, I took 3, and Bryan took 3. So 8 balloons at an event of 60 plus people. It's not a lot. Problem is, so apparently some Games Workshop employees were walking about throughout day 1 at least, and looking around and seeing what was out there. And my worry is that if they did see the balloons and they thought, oh, it's okay, it's only 3 armies out of 60, it's fine. And because the tables are randomized, they wouldn't have known that they were all sort of like right about the top tables. Maybe they'd seen the results overnight. I hope so. I hope they see this, and I hope they see and realize that it's a problem that needs fixed, and they start really taking some action to address it. But yeah, they need a bit of a rework there. They do look pretty though. You gotta say that. Okay, let's have a little look at Bryan's list. We had a look at this list before, but it is worth refreshing. So Bryan had Cathay. He had Shogungan Lord. This was level 2 with a Monkey King's Wisdom. That's like strength 10, AP 4, D3 wounds. It's a super ogre blade. Really, really, really good. He had battle magic with that as well. Don't really remember what he took on that. Arcane Urgency and Hammerhand by the looks of it. I took this is the one matchup I took Arcane Urgency on both my Shogungan. The idea being that I could maneuver my balloons into place and do bits and pieces, but didn't pan out that way. Bryan had a Lord Magistrate on a balloon with all the usual tricks, with a Ring of Jet and a Talisman of Protection. He had a Strategist. This one only had gunpowder bombs, but otherwise all the usual tricks, and a Ring of Jet, but no ward save, which is quite interesting. And then he had a Foot Strategist with a Ring of Jet as well. So that's 3 Rings of Jet so far. 22 Jade Warriors with a No Fly banner, 5 Jade Lancers, both with a Ring of Jet. So that's 5 rings so far. And then another 3 units of Lancers there, all with the Rings of Jet and the Champion. So that's 8 rings. And last but not least, if you can sort of see that, just a plain lantern with the bombs. Quite nasty, really zappy. But I felt that actually my army could probably do quite well against that if I were to get the first turn. So what did I do? I look at the armies. They do look good, don't they? Bryan's army, you put it up for best painted. I don't know how many votes it got, but I hope it got quite a bit, because it was really, really nicely painted army, really striking. Quite quickly painted, I think. I mean, I think Bryan will admit it wasn't a massive work of art, but really good color selection. It just looks really, really nice. And this is how we deployed. So, knowing that I wanted to maximize my chances for going first, because I had cannons and he had balloons, I chose to not scout my balloons. And what did we do? We put a balloon here in sort of my middle left. In the middle, we have a unit of Lancers with my general balloon. We've got the smaller Shogungan in the middle, 2 cannons on the hill, larger Shogungan on the right-hand side, essentially zoning out this area for scouting balloons. A unit of Lancers, my other balloon, character balloon, and then a unit of Jade Warriors protecting my baggage train. And Bryan, on the opposite corner, also had his baggage train with his Jade Warriors. He had his Shogungan, he had his Lancers everywhere here, and then he did end up scouting the balloons into the middle. And Let's have a little look and see what that looks like on the ground. I think this gives you a different perspective, which I quite like. Really nice. Really pretty. Two very pretty armies facing against each other. Definitely worthwhile. And the first Cathay mirror as well. So I knew that basically it was all going to come down to who got the first turn, because if I got the first turn, I would be killing at least one character lantern, or giving it a right good go with 4 cannonballs through it. If Bryan was going to go first, he was going to start pummeling my cannons and basically take those out. And unfortunately, despite me getting the +1, Bryan did in fact manage to steal the first turn. And that's what happened. He basically moved in and started pummeling those cannons and bringing his Shogungan to bear there. And this is sort of the view that I had for most of the game, is just a wall of lanterns right in front of me, which actually made rolling dice like over them really awkward. But that's just one of the things that you have. You see I have a little cue cards there to remind me to do like reserve moves and bits and pieces. I like little cheat sheets and things like that. So this is what things look like at the end of turn 1. Obviously he activated the no fly banner, and it meant that this lantern didn't move anywhere. Basically my lanterns just didn't really go anywhere, which is a real pain in the arse. He took a fair bit of wounds on this lantern, I think, from shooting from the other 2. That was, I don't know if that was the non-character one. I think it was the non-character one. And then his other lanterns had already killed a cannon by the end of turn 1, which is really annoying. His Shogungan was here. I activated my no-fly banner, which meant the Shogungan can go anywhere, because I couldn't have it come and kill my other cannon while his lanterns go everywhere. Not a fantastic start for me. End of turn 2, I believe my second cannon is dead at this point, because I think he shot it, essentially. That's dead. I've got a unit of lancers running away here, which I believe ran the whole game, or they died. His Shogungan's in combat with mine, and he's taken a few wounds. I've taken a few wounds. I got lucky, to be honest, because his Shogungan is the better weapon. But he didn't manage to, and I think he went for the extra weapon skill on the Cathay winds, and he didn't manage to like kill it so much. My balloon on the right hand side here is coming for his Jade Warriors, and the terrain piece as well, the baggage train, as his lanterns are working through my army here. So we're trading pieces. This is turn 3. Turn 3, a lot of things are starting to die on the left hand side here. I think my Shogungan's chasing what basically his lancers to try and bring some points here. This lantern in the middle was basically finishing off units. Quite a lot of things died. He chucked his strategist out the unit, which was quite smart. He's doing bombing runs on my Jade Warriors here. I mean, it's pretty brutal by this point. There's not a huge amount left. I believe he's killed one of my Shogungan. Yeah, he killed my the one with a really good blade. And in return didn't take a huge amount of wounds. So it's not looking phenomenal for me. He manages to kill my baggage train. I kill his baggage train. He rallies a couple of lancers here, which I finish off with that balloon. There's a unit of lancers here that I park my Shogungan in front of, so they're going to have to, you can't really see it, but they're going to have to take the charge. And there's just not really a lot left. So at this point, we're sort of trying to claim as many points as possible. He has all of my core, and I'm about to get all of his core. We both have each other's baggage trains. Have I killed the balloon? It looks like I have. I think, yeah. So I have 3 balloons. 1, 2, 3. He has 2 balloons, but he's killed my cannons, and he's killed a Shogungan, and I've got this Shogungan here. So I think, if I'm not wrong, This is end of turn 5. Yeah, as I say, all of his core is dead. All of my core is dead. Has he killed another balloon? Oh no, my balloon's over here. Yeah, so that's my general balloon. So basically, at this point, I had a tactical decision to make. So I wanted to... This Shogungan that's hiding at the back here. It is worth a fair bit of points. And it was down to 2 wounds. It was the... I think it was the Lord level Shogungan, actually, was it not? Let me have a little look into it. Anyway, if I could do 1 more wound to it, I would get partial points. If I did 2 wounds to it, it'd be dead. So great, fantastic. The only way for me to get that would be to put my general to fly out and shoot it. Okay, and that would mean he gets 2 of his balloons to bomb me, and I think my general was down to like 2 or 3 wounds or something. But I had MR2, and he'd been throwing those rings at it quite successfully. I think by this point he got something like 3 out of 4 successful castings on an MR2 model with bound level 2, essentially rolling 10 or more on the dice each time, which is very, very lucky, but that's what you need sometimes. I knew I might trade my general for his Shogungan, and while that would have been a bad trade, I knew that his balloons would be able to come in and attack my balloon anyway. So I thought at least I'd be able to get some points for that Shogungan, and then, if I lose my general, well, I lose more points, yes, but I might lose those points anyway and not get anything in return. So as it happened, my stupid general balloon rolled over and was completely unable to do any wounds to the Shogungan. I think I did 1 and he saved it or something, but it was utterly embarrassing. At which point his balloons turned around, and then both rings of unquiet spirit rings of jet went off on MR2, and he just rolled hot and basically exploded the balloon. So my general died. I didn't get any partial points for his Shogungan, and that was basically it. That was much the end of the game. I had 2 smaller balloons left and a Shogungan, and he had his 2 balloons left and Shogungan. So in the end, it was very, very close, but actually it swung in Bryan's favor by the tiniest margin. I killed, and I calculated this several times, I killed 1,398, and he killed 1,711. The difference being 313 points, which is 12 points or 13 victory points out of a draw. And if that was a draw, I'd probably be playing Malik in the next round, to be honest. But yeah, it was a bit rough. But it is what it is. Sometimes you need the luck. Okay, so going into my final round, game 5, here's who we have. So I played Daniel Legg with his Dwarf Expeditionary Force. So he had, it wasn't quite as the gyro force you'd expect. It was a lot more shooty than that. He had a Thane with the VSB with the Master Rune of Grungy and the Gun Thane set up as usual. Runesmith with the Rune of Calm. He had Burlock as the general. He had a single Sapper with some shooty loadout, and he had an engineer with the Stupidity pistol, which is quite smart. He had 21 Thunderers with full command and 16 Rangers with full command as well. 2 units of 2 Scout Gyrocopters, and then 3 cannons and another unit of Scout Gyrocopters. Overall, I didn't think it was going to be all that scary. I was expecting more Gyrocopters, but Daniel played it really well. Obviously, in order to be on table 3 in game 5, you got to play well. And he had his target priority really bang on. We deployed as follows. This is the slightly narrower table edges one, I think. Add a cannon on the left-hand side here, hiding a cannon behind the trees here. A couple of balloons in the middle with the Shogungan, and one. Oh no, actually, that's not cannon. Is that cannon? Must be a cannon there somewhere. That's the Lancers. Two character balloons in the middle. Unit Lancers on the right hand side. Where's my other balloon? Oh, bottom left here. Yeah, bottom left here. I think I ran out of space eventually. And then he put his gyrocopters on the flanks, one in the middle, two cannons in the middle, one cannon beside his thunderers, and basically just contesting victory points from turn one. So let's have a little look. Yeah, there we go. There's everything hiding there. Quite narrow deployment. I decided not to scout because I wanted the +1 to go first. In a shooting game, you really want that first turn. I didn't get it. Both my first turns in this were stolen. This is what things look like in after turn one. It was brutal. We had my Lancers were basically on both flanks. He targeted them with his gyros and killed a whole bunch, which meant I didn't have my rings for the whole entire game on these two. I did have a balloon here go after two gyrocopters. Shogungan and another balloon are aiming for his cannons. I believe that's actually my general, which in turn one took something like 6 wounds, which is very, very painful from like 3 cannons and a bunch of other shooting. I probably split things up a little bit too much in this. But at the end of turn 2, he actually managed to kill my general balloon, which has not happened up until this point. So yeah, absolutely brutal. He already demolished my general balloon with his shooting. Luckily, I managed to kill. At this point, I've killed all 3 cannons. Gyrocopters on the left-hand side are dead. There's a single gyrocopter left in the middle, and 2 gyrocopters left on the right-hand side. They were a real pain in the arse, actually. I couldn't. Oh, there's that cannon in the middle. I couldn't quite. I couldn't quite do enough damage to them. At this point, my Shogungan are coming in, and I'm starting bombing runs, and I'm hoping to basically do enough damage to whittle that unit down, so I can start cannoning the remaining characters. Which didn't quite turn out to be like that. His shooting was devastating, just from strength 4, just the amount of 6s you roll, because every 6 you roll just goes right through my armor. And you're on to a ward save, which is not phenomenal. The volume that he had was really quite impressive. There's a fight going on with gyrocopters here in the middle. Yeah, things are closing in, but as you can tell, the dwarven ranks are thinning. There's not a huge amount of characters and everything else left. I think at this point I decided I could throw a Shogungan in the side and both the chariots, but actually I think with the stand and shoot and just with the sheer dwarf resiliency, I think he probably would have actually won out. So I decided to do another bombing run, and in the end that turned out to be the right move, because next turn I basically destroyed every single rank and file guy. My Shogungan on the right hand side destroyed the unit of Rangers, and I was basically onto bombing runs on his characters for the last turn. In the middle here, the cannons are both dead, and I've got a unit of actually there's an ogre I think left there, but my Jade Warriors are in combat with the 2 gyrocopters, which are actually from 2 separate units. I wonder if I have end of turn 6. I do. I killed both the gyros. One gyro killed, maybe the other one ran away. But yeah, I killed some gyros, and I think he had basically like an engineer left. So in the end, let's have a little look and see what did I write down. Yeah, I killed something like 1,962 points, plus 270 for objectives. But I lost a whole ton. I lost 1,462 and 360 on objectives. So In the end, 2232 versus 1822. 410 points difference for a 4-2 win. Had I had a slightly better result in this game, maybe another 300 points. Had I maybe got through his, didn't lose my general quite as early, managed to get through his unit a little bit earlier, there's a good chance I would have placed one higher. If I had one more tournament point, then I would have placed higher, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. As it were, I did actually manage to finish third, which is really good. Really quite chuffed with that, to be honest, because I wasn't sure in that last game whether I was even going to be on the podium. I was quite happy that I thought I might be like fourth or fifth. I missed out on a podium placing, which you know would be a real shame. But in the end, I did manage to secure third place. There was a really good prize support there as well. I did a awards video, which you can watch separately if you want to see who got everything. I got myself a little medal and a unit of Knights of the Realm, I think they are, which is really good fun. A note about the awards. So this is basically the trophy for third place. This is actually a trophy. The awards were the same for every single placing, whether you came first, second, third, best painted, any of those. All the awards were identical. There was a trophy for first place, a separate trophy, as well as a medal, I believe. And I think the wooden spoon was an actual spoon. However, the rest of the awards were identical, and they look like this. You got a nice little case here, and a nice chunky medal. Like this is a good, high quality, heavy medal. But it's not really unique. Like that, it looks a bit 40k as well. Maybe that's just me. Like I like to know where my trophies are from to remember them, so I'll probably need to write down on this sort of like London GT, third place. There were also certificates, to be fair, as well. I forgot mine in my hurry to try and go and get the train. I did forget it. So, in my opinion, I think the trophies were a bit lackluster. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more cool and old worldy. And that was just me heading away on the King's Cross train station. That's what that looks like in London, if you haven't been before. So as a summary, I think the event organization was phenomenal. Rich did a really, really good job from the pack, which is really, really good, from the communication, which is clear. There was an issue with the comp. However, I think that was because it was early days and the pack was locked down fairly early on. It has since been changed for the next UKTC event, which I believe is Coventry in a few weeks. It has been changed and improved. So as a result, as a direct result of this, it was in fact improved. We'll have a look and see at the final placings. Let me just show you who came where. So here is the final placings. In 10th place, we had Tom Brown. Nice lad. Really, really good chat with him before and after the event. So 10th place with Empire Man. Really, really good. I believe that was his first event. So all the world events. He's done really, really well with that. So well done, Tom. In 9th place, we've got Dr. Blackstill. Luke, the defending champion with his Wolves of the Sea. Undefeated, but 3 draws and 2 wins. He was one of the ones I said would finish in the top 10, so he was one of my predictions. In 8th place, we have Tom Brzozowski, and with his Chaos Dwarves, he was my round 2 opponent. His only loss was to me. It looks like he won or drew the rest of his games. And again, also another prediction that I said would finish in the top 10, and he did. In 7th place, Daniel Capita. This is the Maltese chap that I spoke to with his, it was Vampire Counts he had, in fact. Yeah, I think really, really good set of results. I think he was a bit miffed in the last game. He missed a couple of rules or something, so he could have very much finished higher. But yeah, Dark Horse did not see him coming there, so done really well. Another Dark Horse and a surprise victory is Jack Negus with his High Elf Realms. Really, really good result. This list needs to be highlighted because I didn't think much of it. He had, Prince on the Dragon, yes, fine. He had another Prince on the Skycutter, Stormweaver, 27 Seaguard, 15 Archers, Skycutter, Seven Sisters, and two Great Eagles. Like, you look at it and you go, oh, that's an alright list. I can't really see how he's done so well. Like, I think he did get alright. He played Tom. So he played Brett's, he played Empire. I don't know what everyone else plays. So must have got good matchups. He didn't play any Cathay, which is good. And he's managed to finish 6th, so well done. And actually on a 4-1 as well, which is a really good result. Into the top 5, we are moving into the podium place. We have Pip Hamilton with his Vampire Counts. Undefeated as well. 3 wins, 2 losses. So he's done really well. In 4th place, we have Cathay, Bryan Carmichael, 4 wins and a loss. In 3rd place, we have myself, also with 4 wins and a loss with Cathay. And in 2nd place, we've got Ross Cooper with Mortuary Cult, 3 wins, 2 losses. And in 1st place, we have Malik Rubio with 4 wins and a draw. Interesting point, I believe 26 battle points for Malik, 23 for Ross. I had 22, so, any of those results go 1 point higher, maybe could have finished 2nd. Bryan had 21 battle points. Pip had 21 battle points. Jack had 19. So basically, between 2nd place and 5th place, there's like 2 battle points. So yeah. And then if you have a look at the strength of schedule, which I think is quite interesting, I think Bryan had the toughest at 3.89 because he had to play both the Cathay players, and both the Cathay players, which is myself and Malik, finished higher technically. I had the 2nd highest with 3.88, essentially the same, but I only played 1 Cathay player. Ross had 3.27 and Malik had 3.31. Jack had a pretty rough run as well, 3.68. So I think the real standout result here is actually the high elf result there, with Jack. So well done to Jack. Well done to obviously to Ross and Malik for finishing 2nd and 3rd. So they did really, really well there. So good on them. So overall, my thoughts. The event was really well run. There was these really handy little terrain cheat sheets, which I thought was great. The pack had like little markers for your scenarios. They had little reminders of what the scenarios were. There was constant reminders of when the round times were ending. Although I hired my first day opponents, but overall, really, really well run event. Downside is, I think for me, the trophies were a little bit generic. It would have been nice to see them a bit more personalized. Even if it's a 3D printed sculpt sprayed gold, that's fine. That's cool. That people like that. The medals are cool. Medals are fine, but like trophies are better. Price support is always nice to see as well. The venue, it was really cool to be at a place which was so massive. There was over 2,000 gamers in one space. However, as you saw in the map of the that I showed earlier on in the video, it was very much, it sort of felt like a side event. Very much a side event. I mean, you were like less than 5% of the attendees. And I personally prefer events that are like, this is the old world tournament, this is the event in this space, we're here all for that. It creates more of a buzz. It sort of feels a bit more like, you're the number one priority. In there, it very much felt like 40k are the number one priority. The tannoy system was constantly going, and it was quite loud, and with 2,000 people in one space, 2,000 people plus, you were just shouting at your opponents. There was loads of times where I actually had to walk around to my opponent's side to actually just be able to hear them, because it was a bit too loud in that sense. So from that end, I think, should you go to this sort of event? Yes, I think you should give it a try. It's really good. Am I going to come back? Probably not. it's just not really for me. I think personally I prefer smaller events, or at least events that are primarily an old world event, with sort of some cool trophies and prizes and things like that as well. Cathay, I think, I mean, they need worked. We all know they need worked. I found them, to be honest, quite boring. They're not really my playstyle. This whole sort of like shooting avoidance thing, it's not really how I like to play Warhammer. I think the Shogungan were really good fun. I liked being able to have them as like little play pieces. You know, the core is okay. The cannons are fantastic as always, but I think the balloons are less fun and engaging. So if you take away those balloons, or at least the character versions, and you know, you take away the ability to spam the ring of jet, I think you've got something in mind there. And there's several different comp systems that are working that in. The Aussie comp's working it in, the pool comp's working it in. I think the UKTC one events are also working those restrictions in as well. So I think we're moving in the right direction with comp. It was good to play. I'm glad I played them to see, you know, what they do, and hopefully start to develop ideas of how to beat them in future events. But I think I'm going to put them down. My little balloon experiment is over, and I'll move on to the next army and have a look and see what sort of ticks the box for me there. So hopefully you found this video useful and helpful, and you enjoyed my little sort of vlog journey throughout this event. I would appreciate if you could just let me know what you think about this format. Is this too much? Is it too long? Is it not enough? I always love to hear feedback. I love people engaging, and I do you know, read all the comments and I respond to them. One of the cool things about this event is so many people actually just came over and said hi, and that they follow the channel and they listen to it, which is actually, to be honest, extremely humbling, because I don't think of it as me talking to, you know, several hundred, several thousand people. It's more like this is just my own mad ramblings. But obviously some people are listening to it. So from me, thank you very much. Thank you very much for following so far. Thank you very much for listening and watching this video. I do hope you give it a like and a subscribe. I do believe there's now a feature where you can give it sort of a kudos hype boost or something, which is also quite cool. It'd be nice to see if that works. So if you do have a minute, please do that. And hopefully you will come back and listen to more of my content, more of my event coverage, and we'll see you at the next event. Thank you very much. All the best. Bye-bye.